She had crossed deserts, survived death, and carried a mission that could shake the Muslim world from within. Kings had fallen under her charm. Powerful men had become her puppets, and deception was the only life she had ever known. But the moment she stood before Ahmad Kamal, something happened that she never expected. For the first time in her life, a man looked past her beauty, past her gold, and straight into her soul. And that single moment would change both of their destinies forever. But before we continue, tell us honestly, do you think a person buried in sin can truly change? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you love powerful stories from Islamic history, support Islamic Conquests by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Morning light slowly spread across the desert camp. The young woman opened her eyes and saw Ahmad Kamal standing in prayer. The silence around him felt strange to her. Calm, steady, untouched by fear, desire, or the chaos she carried inside herself. She watched him carefully. When he raised his hands in supplication and closed his eyes, she could not look away. There was a peace on his face she had never seen before. Not in kings, not in generals, not in wealthy men surrounded by luxury. When he finished praying, she asked quietly, "What did you ask Allah for?" Ahmad Kamal answered without hesitation, "The strength to stand firm against evil." A faint smile appeared on her face. "Though you never asked for gold or for a beautiful wife," Ahmad Kamal looked toward her calmly. "Allah gave me both without me asking, but neither belongs to me. Perhaps this is only a test." His answer unsettled her. She studied him for a moment, then asked, "And do you really believe Allah gave you the strength to resist evil?" Ahmad Kamal replied, "Did you not see it yourself? Neither your beauty nor your gold turned me away from my path. That strength comes from Allah." Those words struck deeper than he realized. For years, beauty had been her greatest weapon. Men lost their honor for her. Powerful rulers changed decisions because of her whispers. She had learned since childhood that every man eventually surrendered to temptation. But this man had not. And for the first time in her life, that frightened her. A silence settled between them before she asked another question. "Does your God forgive sins?" Ahmad Kamal answered softly, "Yes. Allah forgives sins if a person truly turns back and does not continue repeating them." The girl lowered her head. Moments later, Ahmad Kamal heard her quietly crying. He lifted her face gently. Tears were running down her cheek. She held his hand tightly and kissed it again and again like a desperate child searching for safety. But Ahmad Kamal slowly pulled his hand away. She whispered, "Today we will send me to Cairo. And after that, I will never be free again. Before that happens, I want to tell you who I really am." Ahmad Kamal stood up. "It is time to leave," he said firmly. "I will personally take you to Cairo. I cannot trust this responsibility to anyone else." She looked at him with pain in her eyes. "You do not want to know who I am?" Ahmad Kamal answered, "That is not my duty." Then he walked outside. But what she was hiding would soon threaten far more than just one man. No one in that camp yet realized how dangerous the truth really was. A short while later, 6 horses moved across the desert toward Cairo. Ahmad Kamal rode in front. The young woman followed behind him. 4 armed guards surrounded them, while camels carried water and supplies for the long journey ahead. The road to Cairo would take nearly 36 hours. Twice during the journey, she tried riding beside Ahmad Kamal. Both times he calmly told her to remain between him and the guards. Other than that, he barely spoke to her. The sun disappeared beneath the horizon, and Ahmad Kamal ordered the caravan to stop for the night. That evening, he allowed her to sleep inside his tent for protection. A lantern remained lit beside them. Ahmad Kamal soon fell asleep. But sometime deep in the night, he suddenly woke up. Someone was touching his forehead. He sat upright quickly and saw the young woman beside him. Tears filled her eyes. She took his hand in both of hers and kissed it before breaking down in uncontrollable sobs. Ahmad Kamal watched her silently. Finally, she spoke. "I am your enemy. The words hung heavily inside the tent. I came from Palestine, from the lands controlled by the Crusaders. I was sent here for espionage. I was trained to create conflict among Muslim rulers and to help prepare the assassination of Salahuddin Ayyubi. Ahmad Kamal's face remained calm, but inside, every word tightened like a blade. Yet what she said next changed everything. "Oh, but my hatred is gone now." Ahmad Kamal stared at her. "Why?" he asked. She looked at him through tears. "Because you were the first man who ever rejected me." Those words carried years of pain behind them. "All my life," she continued, "men treated me like an object, a toy. And I accepted it because that was the only purpose I was taught. I was raised to deceive men, to control them, to destroy them through desire." Her voice trembled. "What you call shamelessness was taught to me as an art, as a weapon." The desert wind brushed softly against the tent outside while she continued, revealing the truth she had buried for years. "I was never taught faith. I barely understood religion. Only one thing was forced into my mind since childhood: the cross." She lowered her gaze. "I was taught that Christians alone had the right to rule the world, that Muslims were enemies of the cross, that they must either submit or be destroyed." Ahmad Kamal listened carefully. Then she suddenly asked, "Do you know your relative, Rajam?" Ahmad Kamal's expression changed slightly. "He commands one of the Killah's guard units. He was also part of the Sudanese conspiracy," she revealed quietly. Ahmad Kamal's eyes narrowed. "Where is he now?" She answered, "In Sudan, among the Abyssinians." Then her face darkened with fear. "There is a place there," she whispered, "where young girls are sacrificed before idols." The air inside the tent suddenly felt colder. "That is where Rajab is hiding." Ahmad Kamal remained silent. She continued, speaking slowly, as if reliving a nightmare. "The three of us were brought from Palestine under Rajab's protection. We were told he would keep us safe, but everything became horror. Her breathing became uneven. The Abyssinians wanted to sacrifice us. I saw girls prepared for slaughter, their bodies thrown before crocodiles waiting beside the water. Even now, the memory terrified her. I used to think I was untouchable," she said bitterly. "I believed beauty gave power over everyone. Kings lowered their heads before me. Men ruined themselves for me." Her voice cracked. "But then I saw those crocodiles waiting to devour human bodies, and I realized what my own end could become." She closed her eyes tightly. "For the first time in my life, I became afraid of death." Outside, the desert wind grew stronger. Inside the tent, she described how they escaped through a violent sandstorm, how the horses lost control, how one girl fell beneath galloping hooves, how another became trapped in the stirrup, dragged across the desert while screaming for mercy. Even now, the memory haunted her. "I still hear her screams," she whispered. "I will hear them until I die." Her hands trembled violently. I was left alone in that storm. The darkness around me felt like death itself. I thought demons were laughing around me, and for the first time, I remembered God. Tears streamed down her face again. I cried and begged for forgiveness. I asked God to save me. Then I lost consciousness. She looked directly at Ahmad Kamal, and when I woke up, I was in your custody. For a brief moment, silence returned. Then she gave a faint, broken smile. "But when I first saw your fair face, I thought I was back among Europeans. I believed I had been rescued by my own people." Her expression darkened again. "But when I learned I was among Muslims, terror filled my heart. I had been taught that Muslims were savages toward women." She looked at him carefully. "But you," her voice softened, "you treated me with honor. That confession carried more weight than any apology. I expected you to harm me," she admitted. "Even during sleep, I feared you would come near me." Instead, Emi Siwad comforted her during nightmares like a frightened child. And at dawn, she had watched him pray. "That peace on your face," she whispered. "I had never seen anything like it before." She shook her head slowly. "No man turns away from wealth and beauty the way you did. I thought perhaps you were not even human." Ahmad Kamal lowered his eyes quietly. But what she asked next would soon test him more than any battle ever had. She held both his hands tightly, I do not want to leave you. The words came from somewhere deeper than fear. Yesterday, I invited you towards sin. Today, I would spend my whole life at your feet if it meant finding the peace I saw in your prayer. Ahmad Kamal slowly pulled his hands away. I cannot betray my people, he said firmly. You are a trust placed under my protection. My duty ends only after I hand you over to the authorities in Cairo. What pain filled her eyes. When they sentenced me to death, she whispered, will you at least stand beside me? Ahmad Kamal said nothing. The lantern flame flickered softly between them. Then she asked one final question. But tell me honestly, is there still a path back for someone like me? Ahmad Kamal looked at her carefully. But before he could answer, a far greater conspiracy was already beginning to unfold inside Cairo itself, and neither of them yet understood how close danger truly was. The night slowly faded as the caravan continued toward Cairo. But the conversation inside that desert tent never left Ahmad Kamal's mind. Every word the young woman had spoken carried danger with it. Not just for him, but for the entire Muslim leadership. If her claims were true, then betrayal had already entered places no enemy army could easily reach. And somewhere inside Cairo, powerful men might already be working against Salahuddin Ayyubi himself. By the following evening, the caravan finally reached the city. Without wasting time, Ahmad Kamal went directly to Ali bin Sufyan and delivered a complete report. He told him everything the girl had revealed, from the hidden Crusader networks to Rajab's escape into Sudan. He also described the horrifying place where Abyssinians sacrificed young girls before idols. When Ahmad Kamal finished, he said firmly, if you order it, I can bring Rajab back alive or dead. Ali bin Sufyan remained deep in thought. Instead of sending Ahmad Kamal himself, he assigned trained intelligence men for the mission. Ahmad Kamal explained the route and every detail the girl had described so they could reach Rajab's hiding place. But before anything else, Ali bin Sufyan wanted to question the girl personally. She was brought before him. The moment he asked his first question, she replied calmly, Ahmad Kamal must remain here while I speak. Otherwise, I will say nothing. Ali bin Sufyan immediately understood something important. This was no longer fear alone. Something inside her had genuinely changed. Ahmad Kamal was called into the room, and only then did the questioning begin. For hours, she revealed everything. Nothing was hidden. She explained how Crusader agents secretly entered Muslim lands, disguised as merchants, servants, travelers, even Muslims themselves. Some women were trained specifically to enter the homes of powerful Muslim rulers. They slowly gained influence over governors, ministers, and commanders, manipulating decisions from inside the palace walls. Others married into respected Muslim families using false identities. Their purpose was simple: corrupt the next generation, break moral discipline, spread weakness from within. She described hidden payments made to corrupt officials, gold exchanged in silence, rivalries secretly encouraged among Muslim leaders. Rumors planted carefully until distrust spread like poison, and again, one goal stood above all others: to weaken Salahuddin Ayyubi before the coming war against the Crusaders. As Ali bin Sufyan listened, his face grew darker. But what shocked him most was the name she mentioned near the end: Faisal Fatimi, one of the important officials connected to military affairs. The girl claimed he was secretly helping the enemy. For several moments, silence filled the room. Then she looked toward Ahmad Kamal and said quietly, "If I must die for what I have done, then let him be the one who carries out the sentence." Even Ali bin Sufyan was affected by the sincerity in her voice. And for the first time, he began wondering whether Allah had truly guided this woman back from darkness. But proving betrayal inside the government would not be easy. One wrong move could shake the entire state. Ali bin Sufyan immediately went to Salahuddin Ayyubi and reported everything. The Sultan listened carefully. When he heard the accusation against Faisal Fatimi, his reaction was immediate. "No," Salahuddin said firmly. "I cannot believe this so easily." His voice carried caution, not weakness. Faisal Fatimi held an important position. Sensitive military matters passed through his hands. Arresting such a man without undeniable proof could create chaos. Ali bin Sufyan answered carefully, "My Sultan, you know the Fatimids still hold deep connections with dangerous factions. We cannot ignore this possibility." Salahuddin fell silent. The room became heavy with tension. Finally, he said, "You will not arrest him without clear evidence. I want him caught in the act. Create the opportunity, then expose the truth." That decision would soon test everyone involved. Ali bin Sufyan left the palace already forming a plan in his mind. He understood something important about the girl. After surviving terror, betrayal, death, and the desert storm, her attachment to Ahmad Kamal had become real, deeply real. And perhaps that emotional connection could now be used to uncover the conspiracy. When Ali bin Sufyan explained his idea to her, she listened carefully before answering. "If Ahmad Kamal asks it of me, I will walk into fire." Ahmad Kamal looked uncomfortable hearing those words. Still, he told her quietly, "Do as he says. Understand what is being asked of you." She looked at both men before asking, "And what reward will I receive?" Ali bin Sufyan answered, "You will be protected. You will be treated with honor." But she slowly shook her head. That is not enough. For the first time since arriving in Cairo, complete silence filled the room. Then she spoke the words no one expected. "I will accept Islam, and Ahmad Kamal will marry me." Ahmad Kamal immediately refused. His answer came without hesitation. "No." The girl lowered her eyes, hurt flashing across her face. Ali bin Sufyan quietly took Ahmad Kamal outside. "You may have to accept this," he told him. "Not for yourself, but for the safety of the Muslim state." Ahmad Kamal's expression hardened. "I still do not fully trust her." Ali bin Sufyan replied, "Then let her prove herself." Those words remained in Ahmad Kamal's mind for a long time. Finally, he returned inside. The young woman looked toward him anxiously. Ahmad Kamal spoke slowly. "I refuse because I still fear deception. But if you truly sacrifice for Islam, if you prove your sincerity, then I will spend my life honoring you." The girl closed her eyes as tears rolled down her cheeks. Then she looked toward Ali bin Sufyan. "Tell me what must be done." Ali bin Sufyan explained the dangerous plan. She would continue pretending loyalty to the enemy network. Through carefully arranged contact, they hoped to expose Faisal Fatimi directly. One mistake could cost her life. One wrong word could destroy everything. But she accepted without hesitation. And for the first time in many years, she felt she finally had a purpose greater than deception. Over the following days, the operation quietly began. Messages were passed. Meetings were arranged. Traps were carefully prepared. Meanwhile, Salahuddin Ayyubi waited patiently for proof. The tension inside Cairo slowly grew. No one realized how close the conspiracy was to collapsing. Then finally, the moment arrived. Evidence surfaced linking Faisal Fatimi to secret cooperation with enemy agents. The hidden network began unraveling piece by piece. The suspicions that once seemed impossible were now becoming undeniable reality. And Salahuddin Ayyubi finally understood how deeply the enemy had tried to poison the Muslim ranks from within. The conspiracy was crushed before it could fully spread. But the greater victory was not political. It was spiritual, because among all those events, the most unexpected transformation belonged to the woman who had once entered Muslim lands as an enemy, a woman raised upon deception, a woman who believed beauty was power and corruption was survival. Yet Allah guided her heart through fear, suffering, and the character of one righteous man, not through force, not through threats, but through honesty, dignity, patience, and faith. And Ahmad Kamal himself learned something equally important. Sometimes the greatest battles are not fought with swords. Sometimes they are fought inside the human heart. The desert storm that nearly killed her had become the beginning of her guidance. The nightmares that once terrified her had led her toward truth. And the peace she saw on Ahmad Kamal's face during prayer became the peace she spent the rest of her life searching for. History remembers great wars. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson hidden inside this story. A person may travel far into darkness, but the door of repentance remains open until the very end. If this story moved you, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Islamic Conquests for more powerful stories from Islamic history. And may Allah allow us all to recognize truth before it is too late.